Hey guys, so a couple days ago I came out with a Ravager plus Skillitary team. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. That's why I didn't stream tonight, if anyone's wondering. But I found what I think is a more valuable counter using Ravagers. We're going to have to build up a couple more of the Ravagers actually to make this work. But for me personally, I have lots of answers to the Uncanny team. I have lots of answers to the Web Warriors. So I wanted to find a valuable spot for my Ravagers that I don't already have an answer for. And that, for me, came in the form of the new Warrior team. So these are the new Warriors. I'm going to hide for a second so we can talk this out. Drax and Shuri. Now, Shuri really boosts this team because if she gives energy to Dagger, you need to worry about both of their ults going off. Deathpool is actually normally not on this team, but she is the hardest version of this team. If there is no Deathpool on this team, this becomes a walk in the park for our Ravagers. The biggest risk in this fight is Deathpool one-shotting somebody and then using her passive to either kill somebody else or to take a speed up off of our Boomer. So this is our team. The Drax, the Shuri, and the new Warriors. For our Ravagers, we're going to have Boomer, T'Challa, Yondu, Stitcher, and Hawkeye. As far as T4s go for Boomer, we're going to want the special and the passive. We want him as a skirmisher. For T'Challa, everything but the basic. We want him as a skirmisher too, unless we have a very big T'Challa. Then we can switch that to striker. Then for Yondu, we're going to want everything but the basic, and we want him as a striker. For Stitcher, we just want that basic. Oh my god, guys, I was so wrong about this character. That basic hits so hard. I can't wait to show you in this video. We're going to want him as a striker. And then we have Hawkeye. We're going to want that specialty forward as well as the passive. He's better as a skirmisher for sure, but it's not necessary in this matchup, so you can definitely take him as a fortifier to mitigate the risk of the death pool. You'll see what I'm talking about as we go on in the video. For the kill order, we're going to kill Dagger, Deathpool, and the rest, but it's really just kill Dagger, then kill the rest. For the important moments, room selection is our number one thing. We don't want to take rooms that are boosted if we can help it. We want to avoid security, and we don't want to go into bridge because any kind of speed ups that bridge might give are going to really mess things up. And I'm going to tell you right now, Deathpool and T'Challa have the same speed. So there's a coin flip moment that can either be the death or the savior of you in security. If T'Challa goes before Deathpool, he'll clear that defense down, and then you don't have to worry about it. We'll get more onto that interaction between Deathpool and T'Challa in a bit. Buff rooms remaining. If you have Hanger Up, that's a big plus for you because you really only need to survive the one attack from Deathpool. And if you can do that, then you're going to be fine. And with that said, obviously you got to worry about the enemy having barracks and cargo bay up, increasing the damage of that Deathpool. So always be mindful of that. Which is going to lead us into the appropriate punching range. You got to know the appropriate punching range for this. It's not so much relative to the dagger. It's more relative to the cloak and landing your abilities, which is number 4, and the death pool not one-shotting you. I can't harp on that enough. I know I've mentioned it quite a bit already. Let's go ahead and jump into the footage. I'll pop back up. What up? So before we jump into this, I think it's important to go back to the counters that we were able to beat using our Ravagers plus Skillitary. I don't want to do backwards progression, so we want to make sure that this team can beat the Uncanny and the Web Warriors. Now, I did try this live on War when I was streaming on Twitch. It didn't go well for me. I definitely had to swallow some humble pie. I went back to the drawing board in the practice mode, and I figured it out. So I'm going to quickly share that with you. It's like times 500 speed. Basically, don't rewind Phoenix. By rewinding Phoenix, Yondu goes after her. Before her, so then you're stuck behind the stealth. If you let Phoenix use her stealth, Yondu's going to break them out of stealth and you can kill people. It's definitely not as clean as a Skillitary version because obviously you're not being able to utilize the defense down that T'Challa put out because Phoenix sucked it in. Web Warriors are also pretty yucky because Red Guardian protects you a lot from the chaining damage. But let's get into this, which I think is a much more valuable counter. So we need to strip the Drax easily enough with Hawkeye, and we need this to land. We need to land the blind so we sap his energy. And now here's the third check. We need Deathpool not to kill somebody, and this is going to be very important when we build our characters up. We want to make sure it's the right amount of build. Now this is why this team can beat the New Warriors team, and Skillitary can't. Boomer goes before Dagger, puts a vulnerable on her, rewinds her, Stitcher comes in, and if you guys saw that, that was about a 600,000 basic he just did. Absolutely insane damage. And once she's dead, it's basically auto. Really doesn't matter who you're targeting. By the time Yondu's ult comes around, everybody's dead. You're going to see that here in a second. So, easy enough, right? You need those things to go right, but there's some things that can go wrong. I want to start a new segment when I'm doing these war videos where we talk about what can go wrong and kind of how to address that, because obviously live wars where you're going to have, you know, med bay barracks, cargo bay, reactor, security, we want to make sure that we're kind of covering our bases, because obviously practice footage is not the gospel by any means. So what can go wrong? Too many buffs on Drax Red Guardian. Hawkeye special only strips off 3 unless he's got the T4. Then we got Deathpool kills your weaker characters. If you're going in with a Hawkeye like I had, a 64k Hawkeye or a level 72 Boomer, there is a chance that Deathpool's going to come, kill that character, and you could be in trouble. And then abilities not landing. Let me hide for a second to read this. Abilities don't land, and just remember, guys, unavoidable, like on Hawkeye and on T'Challa's abilities, does not mean it cannot be blocked. Let's get into these one at a time. I'll show you what happened in the fight when these occurrences occurred. So this is just a still picture, but you can see Shuri was a healer, gave him an extra regen, plus deflex, that'd be more than 3. We need a T4 then. Deathpool kills somebody off the bat. So here we go, and here's an important thing. So you see my T'Challa went before Deathpool. They do have the same speed. So if this was in security, this is actually a good thing. But if it's not in security, it can be a bad thing. Because what happens is when Deathpool goes, she's going to put some bleeds out. She's going to put bleeds on my Boomer. He survives. He's going to immediately take a turn. He had a regen. If T'Challa actually went after Deathpool in this case, my Boomer survives, and then this fight is a win. It's fine. But that didn't happen here. So obviously there's other ways to make sure your Boomer or your Hawkeye don't die to that. But you'll see here, I lose both. Oddly enough, I did go on to win that fight because Dagger didn't get energy from Shuri, but you don't want to risk it on that. And then finally, we have this where Cloak doesn't get blinded, so you don't sap his energy. Obviously, that's a very painful part of T'Challa's kit, but look right here. I am using a 4 red star, 4 yellow star T'Challa on a 7 red star, 7 yellow star Cloak, who's gear tier 16. Something's not right in the thought process here when I chose this matchup, and obviously that's why I'm suggesting T'Challa as a skirmisher in my case. So he doesn't land it, and then watch the pain that very quickly ensues, and that fight's done. So let's fix the problem. Let's just not dwell on the problem. For number 1, T4 your Hawkeye. I already put that in the infographic, so I'm just hammering this point home. You cannot cheap out on your Hawkeye if you want this matchup to work, and this is a very, very valuable matchup. So for number 2, Deathpool kills your weaker characters. Again, I already put this on the infographic, but I need to hammer this home. Consider ISO 8 changes and build appropriately. Build your Hawkeye up, and definitely your Boomer too. Boomer's a lot of damage. So on this team, those 4 Ravagers, you want to build them up as much as possible. Their damage is insane. Their mechanics are insane. So there's no harm in that. And if Deathpool were to choose any of them, even my Boomer, if he was level 85 gear tier 15, that was 190k Deathpool. She almost didn't kill him. There was a lot of times where she didn't kill him. So you need to build those 4 for sure. You're going to want to. Hawkeye's going to be the one you're going to want to cheap out on. So consider changing him to a fortifier like I showed, or build him up more appropriately. It's going to help him strip off some buffs and stuff, especially if Drax gets subbed out for a Red Guardian and you have a much beefier tank in front of you. So make sure you're doing that. And of course, take room into account, guys. Bridge and security are going to be tough, so you don't want your Deathpool to be killing you if she gets speed or offense up on the jump from bridge. And then finally, abilities don't land. I'll hide for this one again. Be picky with your matchups. Avoid boosted rooms when possible. Easier said than done, I know. I did a lot of testing with the boosted characters, and yes, guys, unavoidable does not mean it cannot be blocked. So you want to avoid those rooms where possible. You want to probably avoid reactors, fine. So bridge, security, and be picky with your matchup. Don't take too big a punch up. Maybe like 25k to 50k max, which is asking a lot for your Ravager team. So this is an endgame team, New Warriors. They're very raid oriented. The Drax and the Shuri can kind of be whatever power. You saw this was an 800k team, but this was so heavily weighted on Cloak and Deathpool, which is why there was moments where it could go bad, which is why we have this list and we're working it out. Be careful with your matchups. Choose an appropriate matchup. Don't throw away your war attacks. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. If you like this video, please like, subscribe. I don't got much to say. I got to kind of save my voice for Friday's stream. Stay happy, healthy, and have fun. Healthier than me at the very least. And I'll see you next time. Peace, guys.